I probably should have mentioned this when I reviewed the first Toy Story and Bugs Life, that there are going to be some spoilers throughout the movie. If there's any sort of twist in these Pixar movies, I won't give it away, but I will be talking about some scenes in detail. With that said, this is my review for Toy Story 2, the sequel to the highly successful, highly loved Toy Story. Toy Story 2 brings back all the characters, or most of them, that we remember from the first movie. Woody, Buzz, Ham, Rex, Mr. Potato Head, Slinky, the entire gang. Andy is about to head out to cowboy camp, and he's going to take Woody with him. But during a play session, Andy accidentally rips Woody's arm, and he doesn't take Woody to cowboy camp. His mom puts Woody on the shelf, thinking that Woody's done for. He's not going to be played with again. So Woody discovers this toy that he had a conversation with before Andy's mom grabbed the toy and took it to the yard sale. And this toy's name is Wheezy, a penguin with a broken squeaker. So Woody goes into the yard sale to rescue Wheezy, and he's successful at it, but he doesn't make it back to the house and is stolen by this fat man who ends up being the owner for Al's toy barn, Al. The reason behind this robbery is because Al has an entire collection of Woody Roundup accessories that is going to be sent to a toy museum in Japan. So it's up to Buzz, Ham, Rex, Potato Head, and Slinky to go find Woody and bring him back home before Andy gets home. Toy Story 2 has a very interesting story. It originally started out as a direct-to-video sequel that Pixar was making without John Lasseter's involvement. As they were making this sequel, John Lasseter was out promoting A Bug's Life. Disney ordered this sequel, but the people at Pixar said, you know what, this is not a good movie. We can't release it. So by the time John Lasseter finished A Bug's Life, he wanted to relax and spend time with his family, but they called him in saying, look, you have to save Toy Story 2. We have to do this again, start from scratch. So John Lasseter came back, took over Toy Story 2, and within 1 year since A Bug's Life has been released, they produced a film that went straight to the theaters in 1 year. So with all that backstory, you might think a movie that's rushed like that would end up sucking because they didn't really have that much time. They got it in the very next year, so what are the chances of it being good? Well, if you remember seeing the movie, Toy Story 2 is one of those rare examples where you have a sequel that's not only as good as the first movie, but it's debatably better. And it's even more impressive considering the time frame that everyone had to make this movie. And if you want more info on all that, you can check out the documentary, The Pixar Story, that's on the Blu-ray of WALL-E. So that's how Toy Story came to be the groundbreaking sequel that we all remember. I mean, it has got everything. The animation is stellar, even better than the last movie. The humans do look a little better, but they're still not quite ready for a movie where the humans are the main characters. All your favorite toys from the first movie are back. The voice actors do a fantastic job, but we also have a ton of new characters that are memorable also. Like we have Jessie the cowgirl, who's part of Woody's Roundup gang, voiced by Joan Cusack. We have a horse named Bullseye who acts like a dog, so I guess he would be the influence for, I'm forgetting the elk's name in Frozen, but they're kind of the same thing. We have a Prospector played by Kelsey Grammer, the evil Emperor Zurg. My favorite, this sounds weird, is there's another Buzz Lightyear that acts the same way Buzz did in the first movie, where he thinks he's a real space ranger and not a toy. The reason he's actually my favorite new character is because it's funny to see this Buzz interact with the Buzz Lightyear that we all love. Buzz looks at this new guy as if he's looking into a mirror and he's like, oh my god, I used to be like that. So it's just so funny to see those two play off each other, even though they're pretty much the same character. All of the jokes hit. There's not one joke that falls flat or you go, that was not good. And the parts that really make me laugh are, outside of Buzz and Buzz interacting with each other, are seeing these toys go out into the real world and cause all this chaos and don't really care about it. Like the scene when Buzz and the gang have to go to Al's toy barn and they're hiding in traffic cones as they're crossing the busy street, and they just cause a bunch of collateral damage with cars. A lamppost gets knocked over. It is really funny. But the movie is not without its serious moments. When the movie has to be dramatic, it is dramatic. And the biggest scene in the movie that is an example of that is when we get the backstory of Jessie and why she's so fond of going to this museum and why she's upset that Woody is going to abandon them, because she had a backstory where she had an owner and then was given away once she was older. And it's a segment like lasts around 4 minutes, I think. It has the song When She Loved Me, which is so a really great song, and it's so sad to watch. It almost, watching it again in prep for this review, it almost brought tears to my eyes, because it's such a beautiful song, and it proves that some of the best emotional scenes in film come through the visuals and no dialogue, because there's no dialogue outside of the lyrics of the song throughout that sequence, and it is beautiful. And also, while the movie has some shots and moments that are lifted from the first Toy Story, like the helmet thing with the other Buzz and he starts suffocating or acts like he's suffocating. The shot with the Pizza Planet truck entering the airport is the same as when the Pizza Planet truck entered Pizza Planet in the first movie. But this movie, despite all that, never comes across as a rehash, but a natural continuation. It's different from the first movie's plot, but has the same tone and feeling, and it still has that same theme from the first movie, once again helped by Randy Newman's song, You've Got a Friend in Me. Now, there are some issues with the movie, and by issues, I kind of mean nitpicks. One thing that I don't like with A Bug's Life, it has those stupid fake outtakes that I can't stand. Although there's one part at the very end of the outtakes that made me laugh that involves Barbie, because if you've seen the movie, Barbie is in the movie, and it never comes across as like, ooh, a Barbie commercial. No, it's like, it works, and they kind of make fun of Barbie, especially in the end where it's just like, bye-bye, bye-bye. Are they gone? Are they all gone? Oh my god, I can't keep that smile up. I need a break. Out of all the crappy outtakes at the end, that was not really an outtake, but something that made me laugh. Just because it's out of character for Barbie to do that, at least the image that's in our culture. But moving on. The very end of the movie, right before the credits start, there's a Shrek-like musical number where Wheezy sings You've Got a Friend in Me, which I always thought it was weird when movie characters know the theme of the movie. Like, I remember seeing an episode of Star Wars Rebels where there's a parade going on to celebrate Empire Day, and the music that's playing during the parade is the Imperial March, which I found weird, but it's just, I don't like any of those Shrek musical numbers where it's like, oh, everything's fine and dandy, let's have a song and dance number. But interesting enough, this movie predates Shrek by 2 years. And then there's other details like, how does Woody not know about this Roundup gang if they've been around since the 50s? And if Buzz has the notion that he was a space ranger before the events of the first movie. And also, I found an inconsistency. In the movie, Woody gets his arm ripped. So it goes limp. He can't use his arm at all, so he only has one functioning arm. But then it gets fixed, and then it gets ripped again, but when it's ripped again, he can move that other arm. So it's just like, they must have missed that. But then again, this movie did come out 1 year after A Bug's Life, so admittedly some stuff was going to happen. But regardless of that, just regardless of all the complaints I have, those are nitpicks. They don't affect the story. They don't affect my feelings for the movie, because this truly is one of the best sequels ever made, if not be better than the first movie. It's action-packed, it's funny, it's dramatic, it's just got everything you want. So if you haven't seen Toy Story 2, then get off your ass and go see it right now, because it really is a masterpiece. Just like the first Toy Story, you'll love it if you haven't seen it. And that's my review for Toy Story 2. Now, the next Pixar movie is Monsters, Inc., but I've already reviewed that movie when Monsters University came out. Basically, it's really good, really fun, memorable. Check out my review if you haven't, but next Wednesday we're going to move on to Finding Nemo. But until then, leave a comment and tell me what you thought of Toy Story 2 if you've seen it. What did you think? Like, subscribe, share me with your friends, and this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one.